Myself, Amir Siddiqui, and Sumit will be taking up on the solution briefing. And before I begin, just wanted to touch base on the quick background of the problem statement and also about us. We are a 3-decade-old organization, and with a presence of 50 countries and 200 plus customers. And just coming to the next part of it, uh, where we define the problem statement and the required. So with the absence of the host-to-host solution or cloud-based ERP solution, there is issues like payment instructions and downloading that is done manually. So on that basis, it is always required for a complex and time-consuming process, which becomes a hazard. So the solution that is required is host-to-host integrated solution that will connect the client ERP with banking system. In the same purview, we have created the solution presentation here. And over to you, Sumit, for briefing on the solution part.
Thanks, Ahmed. Welcome everyone. So what we are proposing out here is Finexia's host-to-host solution. So if you see on the screen, right, we have what we are trying to showcase here is that the customer's cloud ERP solution is there. There are multiple customers attached to it. So what we have done is we have introduced an host-to-host utility, which is a Java J2E based platform. Now, the benefit here is that at the bank side, at the corporate side as well as on the bank side, this utility will be installed at each and every client level details, right? And here, if you see here, it can take inputs from the files which are coming from customers' ERP solutions to the bank side, or preferably it could be Finexia, it could be any transaction banking platform we are talking about. Once that is received, now there are multiple cases. If you see here, we have multiple options of transferring files from customers' ERP solution to the bank side. Now here we have Excels, PDFs, we have CSV formats, we can have any other images as well. Now here, the solution could be, let's say for the payments part, a file may contain multiple products, right? It could be, let's say, from RTGS product to EFT products, SWIFT transactions. So even if we receive a single file, the system is capable enough of moving that file from customers' ERP solutions to the transaction banking platform through this utility. Now, this utility has its own dashboard, which is available for both bank as well as the customer side. The benefit here is that we can also do the file level validations, or preferably saying that a business level validations can be achieved through the solution perspective. For example, we can do, let's say, a checksum scenarios. We can say a business level scenarios like BIC is not maintained properly, product is not correct, and others, right? Plus that, we also have a very good encryption decryption logic, which is built up on this customer's ERP solution itself. The benefit here is that on the customer front, there are two options. One is whether the customer can themselves gives their the keys to us, and we can decrypt those files using those keys. Now that is wherein we prefer to have this thing done in customer onboarding itself. Secondly, there can be another scenarios wherein customer says you use your own other decryption methods. We have that options as well, which is like AES 256, AES 128. We can have PGP, that's pretty good services. So we have those options. Here, I was talking about this flow wherein the files were moving from customers' ERP to the back office. There could be a scenarios wherein an out file needs to come back. The reason here is that the customer's ERP solution also requires a reconciliation of all the transactions they have processed, right? Now, our system is capable enough of generating this reverse files, what we call it as reverse files, back to the customer's ERP solution for the reconciliation purpose as well. Now, that is on this level. Moving on to the next slide, which gives you more detail about how we do our integrations with cloud's ERP. If you see here, there are multiple customers attached to it, right? Then we have our own, the bank's DMZ gateway. Once we receive these files in a file staging server, now again, we have two options at the file level. One is STP mode, that is, there is no requirement from the bank side to process it. It's pre-approved by the customers. or there could be a second scenario where they require a non-STP mode and they will also require authorization matrix attached to it, or they want any of the transactions which flows from the customer's ERP first land to in the bank's queue. All configurations are available out of the box from the system. The possible use case here is for, let's say, a SWIFT or a cross-border or a cross-payment transactions, right? That needs to be first governed and approved by the bank side, then only that transactions can be routed directly to the core banking system or to the SWIFT terminals, right? All those processing are supported. On our host-to-host, we support FTPs, STPs, HTTPS, right? And similarly, we can also do a reverse file upload. So what are the key features for our host-to-host services are, we have our own dashboard for that. So the customer at the bank side, as well as the customer has an option to resend the failed files. They can generate the reports. They can generate notifications from the system perspective. File transfer is obviously the main criteria for the host-to-host. We also use encryption, decryption features like PGP or AES 256 digital signatures.
Apologies to Sumit, but I have to interrupt you. Apologies, your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Sumit. I'll leave the floor for the judges. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sumit. So can you share what has, some rough idea on your footprint in Middle East where this solution has been implemented?
Okay. So in Middle East, we had some initial customers which was on our old platform, but currently we are also pursuing few other banks which I can't name as of today. But if I talk about the live transaction side, we don't have currently in the Middle East. But however, having said that, but we are our host-to-host utility and the Finaxia product is being used across world, primarily into APAC region, and we have around 14 to 15 live customers which are using this utility.
Sure. And again, this is modular, that only this element of Finex complete product suite can be culled out and implemented, or this utility is part of a bigger platform?
Okay, to answer you, we have an integrated solution, yet at the same time, we are modular enough to provide this utility only to the bank if they wish to. If they wish to have other features like payments, receivables, or maybe we have a product line of ours, like starting from global payments, receivables, liquidity management, financial supply chain management, so and trade finance as well. So we can use these features or this utility across all the platforms, or we can just use the utility as well from the bank's perspective.
Okay. And you mentioned in the slide somewhere about encryption, decryption. So this is there a monitoring capability also, and sort of heartbeat feature that comes with it? And what kind of encryption, decryption can it support?
Okay. So the answer to the first question, yes, we do have our own encryption methodologies like PGP, and we also have AES 256 and 128 services being run. But at the same time, a lot of customers can always come back and say that we have specific requirements against this encryption part. So during our customer onboarding process itself, if you are onboarding a new customer and they have their own requirement of this encryption files, we take a decryption key from them and make it part of a customer onboarding process. So anytime you request your files to be processed, the customer decryption key will be used to decrypt the file, and then the file level validations will be run across.
And is this cloud hosted?
Yeah, it's cloud hosted. It's can be hosted at both the levels, at cloud as well as on-premise.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hamad, Ayad, Kadar?
Yeah. Hi, Sumit. What about security access control?
So on the security access control, we do have complete, we call it as data access and functional access. So it's completely inbuilt solution of ours, wherein all the customer onboarding and all the linking with your banks, let's say, if it's a bank user, LDAP will be a feature wherein we can connect with the bank's LDAP solution and validate the users. Or else we can also validate on the customer level. We have our own OTP. We can connect with the bank's OTP servers. We can connect with the two-factor authentication wherein transaction passwords and other things can also be used across.
Sumit, I have one question.
Yes.
You spoke about the reverse file.
Yes.
Now, is it possible to split the reverse file into, let's say, successful transactions separately and failed transactions separately?
Yes, we can. Basically, the requirement here was that the reverse file. Now, just let me give you an example. 100 records has come up from the client's ERP, right? And they are expecting this 100 records to be reconciled, basically. So for each and every time, the reverse file will require most of the data. And there could be multiple scenarios wherein, let's say on a particular day, only 80 records got status updated, whether success or fail, right? And 20 is still left over. So the file which will reverse file will be generated for 80 records in such case, which will be updated. As you said, success and the failures can be needs to be distinguished. We can work on that. Currently, what we do is, as on what status we have currently, we provide the same status back to the customer's ERP solution.
Okay. Okay.
Sumit, what kind of support do you give for virtual accounts and collections and things of that nature?
Okay, so we have a complete inbuilt solution, which we call it as advanced treasury management system, which covers your virtual account setups. Under virtual accounts, we support both payments on behalf of and receivables on behalf of features, and liquidity on behalf of is part of our roadmap, which will be coming shortly. So under payments and receivables at the both sides, the virtual accounts can be created by the corporates themselves or by the bank users. We have both the options available. Now, once those virtual accounts are created, they can share it with their respective buyers and the counterparties. And whenever we receive a payment, right, that becomes an incoming payment to us. So if they quote a virtual account number out there, we can get those details, and actual accounting entry will be posted to the real account which is set up in the system. And the virtual accounts creation can be dynamic. It could be static, as per the customers and the bank's requirement.
Sumit, one question regarding payments. So whether your solution provides a facility to tank solution at your end and releasing them only on the value date to the bank?
Yes. So basically, you are talking about the parking of the future dated
Yes, parking, yeah, parking, tanking,
yes,
yeah,
we do that. So eventually, so we have again the configuration available wherein you can define what is the future days you can want to have in the system. So in case you maintain, let's say, value 3, in that case, any transaction which is ahead to 3 days, for example, today's 17th, any transaction which is over and above 20th value date will get parked in the system, and on the business date, that particular transaction will will get live, and the transaction processing will happen thereafter.
Okay, okay. That's it from my side.
I have one question, whether it is possible just for those transactions and processing those payments, can it be integrated to a workflow approval or pre-authorizing them?
So when you say pre-authorization, you basically means that is already done in the customer's ERP?
Yeah, it's already there, and now it's moving to the core banking or to the bank, to the MBB side, let us say.
Yeah, we can do that. So we have both the options. Whether you want to have this as an STP mode, or you want a transaction processing to be done in non-STP mode. We do have that configurations.